There are some neighborhoods in New York that seem more like a small town or a village rather than part of the big city. And one of the most famous is Williamsburg in Brooklyn. We'll spend most of our time in this visit walking along the main street, Bedford Avenue, lined with all kinds of restaurants and bars, coffee shops, and little boutiques, one-of-a-kind shops that you don't find anywhere else. Williamsburg is a rather large neighborhood, and we will be focusing our attention on that central retail area around Bedford Avenue and some of the side streets. Williamsburg is like a village within the city. It has gone through many changes over its history, and now it's a very popular part of town. And it's only about 20 minutes away from Midtown by subway. Easy to get here. From Manhattan, you want to get down to Union Square and 14th Street, which you can reach by 3 different subway lines. Will get you there from anywhere in Midtown pretty much. Very convenient. Then change trains at Union Square and get on the L line. That's the subway that'll take you underneath the East Village. Then the first stop in Brooklyn is Bedford Avenue, putting you right into the center of the commercial area. We're on the main street of Williamsburg, which is Bedford Avenue. It goes for about 10 blocks right through the middle of this section of town. And there's interesting side streets that come off from it. This neighborhood does have a resemblance to parts of Lower Manhattan, such as what Soho might have looked like 30 years ago, or the East Village today. But you'll find it enjoys its own unique atmosphere, an authentic slice of Brooklyn, which is still considered an outer borough. Quite different than Manhattan. Of course, in Williamsburg, there's food all over the place. Restaurants, delis, takeout, pizza, including some lunch trucks parked right on the street. Italian, Spanish, all sorts of cuisines here, including some Asian vegetarian. You are surely going to work up an appetite and a desire to dive into these cute little stores as you walk along on Bedford. We're heading north a few blocks, passing some more restaurants and pubs with an international cuisine, such as the Bedford, a gastropub with a rustic charm. It's a busy street with a big variety and no empty shop fronts. After walking around a little bit, we already worked up an appetite. So we popped into Wild Ginger for some Pan-Asian vegan cuisine. They're located just off Bedford on North 10th Street. We enjoyed some pot stickers, tempeh, seitan, and samosas. 2 blocks further north brings us to Mccarran Park, which opened in 1906 and is a popular place for many outdoor sports like volleyball, soccer, swimming, ice skating in the winter, handball, and many other games. While we're up in this neighborhood, we thought we'd take a stroll on some of the side streets just off of Bedford. North 12th Street's interesting. It's residential, some new buildings along with the old wooden clapboard structures. And then we got down to 11th Street. We'd heard about a famous brewery that we had to go in and check out. In the old days, Brooklyn had been a powerhouse of American beer production, but that, along with many other factories, tended to fade away in the late 20th century. And now there's been a revival of beer with the opening in 1996 of the Brooklyn Brewery with their famous tasting room.
Welcome to Brooklyn Brewery.
Okay. And how many kinds of beer do you brew?
We'll do about 30 or 40 over the course of a year.
I see all those taps. Those are all your brewed beers.
Yep.
Wow. And you got tours and tasting tours. They export beer to more than half the U.S. and over 30 countries. It's the first brewery to win a James Beard Award. They're located next to Wythe Avenue, which is the other main road in this part of Williamsburg, and it has a few more shops and more residential buildings along the way. There's even a hotel, the Hoxton, one of half a dozen nice places you could stay in Williamsburg, and of course there's a lot of Airbnb type rentals as well. They even have a beautiful waterfront promenade and some parks along the East River with views across to Manhattan and of the majestic Manhattan Bridge. There's even a ferry service 2 blocks over from the 6th Street Pier that can take you either down to Wall Street or up to East 34th Street. There are several parks along the river here, including Domino Park and the East River State Park. This empty old diner might be one of the casualties of the upscale modernization. The residential side streets have a quiet and casual atmosphere. They even have little front yards, giving it an almost rural feeling. The first village was chartered here in 1661 by the Dutch West India Company, which owned the land that they supposedly purchased from the Native Americans who had occupied the area previously. The English took over in 1664 and called the area Bushwick Shore, which became a farming community supplying food across the East River to New York City. This area then achieved remarkable industrial and economic growth, with local businesses thriving. In 1855, the city of Williamsburg was annexed into the city of Brooklyn, which was independent from New York at the time, until 1898, when it became part of the city of New York. The population then was heavily German, but many Jews from the Lower East Side of Manhattan came into the area to get away from the overcrowded slum tenements. And then after World War II, refugees from East Europe, especially Hasidic Jews from Hungary and Romania, streamed in, leading to a population explosion. Williamsburg is still well known for its large Jewish population. The area went into decline in the 1960s with a big increase in unemployment and crime, gang activities, illegal drug use, but it really bounced back in the 1980s. Low rent became a big draw to bring artists from Manhattan, which had become too expensive, over to Brooklyn, which was relatively cheap back in the 1970s, 1980s. It was a bargain. This led to Williamsburg becoming a center of hipster culture. A lot of art, music, fashions. The creative crowd moved in. Now, however, property values have skyrocketed and things have changed once again. Life is good here in Williamsburg. You've got your Whole Foods. This has become a very upscale and gentrified part of town. Rents for 2 bedrooms could be up there at about $4,000 a month. Crime rates are back down to normal for the city. It's a wonderful place to be. Metropolitan Avenue is as far south as we're going in our little visit to Williamsburg. It's quite wide and has some brand new buildings. One popular hangout is this big Triumph dealer, which has a broad selection of new and used bikes, including some motor scooters. It's almost like a clubhouse where some of the local motorcyclists gather and trade some stories. Bedford Avenue keeps going many blocks further south because it's the longest street in Brooklyn, 10 miles from one end to the other. We've seen the nicest part. Further south, it's mostly residential, all the way to Sheepshead Bay. The bathhouse on the corner contains the Metropolitan Recreation Center with a swimming pool, a fitness room, along with arts and crafts and computer resources. A quick recap of our little walk through the heart of Williamsburg, starting at that Bedford Avenue subway station, up and down Bedford Avenue, up to the park, Mccarran Park, and then down Wythe Avenue over to take a look at the East River, and then back into Metropolitan Avenue to complete our visit. We've got more movies about Brooklyn and especially Manhattan in our collection, along with 1,200 movies about Europe. Have a look at our YouTube channel. We frequently upload new movies, so please subscribe to our channel and click that little alarm bell so you'll be notified. And if you enjoyed the movie, how about a thumbs up? And we always welcome comments down below. Or if you have questions about the destination, make note and we'll answer them. Thanks for watching.